Welcome back, Rare Talks. You already know what it is. Like, comment and subscribe. If you haven't, make sure you go over to the YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube. And make sure you go over to the Spotify and check out the exclusive episodes you got on the Spotify. And today we're talking about another Rare Reactions, as a matter of fact. And we're talking about a police officer that was jailed for rape that was protected by the Metropolitan Police. Now this rapist goes by the name of Adam Provan. The judge says the force protected Adam Provan by ignoring the officer's complaints, allowing him to attack a teenager. The Metropolitan Police have protected a predatory rapist within their ranks, dismissing the complaints of one of his victims and leaving him free to attack a teenager, as a judge said. Adam Provan, 44, was on Tuesday jailed for 16 years, followed by 8 years on license for 8 counts of raping 2 victims between 2003 and 2010. Lord knows they're the 2 victims that we know about. I guarantee you there is more. The former officer, let's not call him officer, let's call him rapist. The former rapist was convicted in June of 6 counts of rape of a female police officer with whom he had a relationship between 2003 and 2005, and 2 counts of rape of a 16-year-old girl in 2010. Judge Noel Lucas KC said the force should be ashamed that their response to this female officer's complaint had been abysmal and shocking, and they had been more interested in looking out for one of their own. Now, when we say the police force is corrupted, we mean that institutionally it's corrupted. Inside of it, with all the officers, is corruption. Now, the reason why these cases need to be brought to light is because for years, people have been screaming that the police force have been doing disgusting and disgraceful things, but it hasn't been looked at as in its totality, and police officers have been getting away with literally murder, as we've seen with the other police officer that killed Sarah Everhard. We're not going to say his name, we're not giving him no big up, but the guy that killed Sarah Everhard. Now we have another police officer that's going around raping women, and the police force were informed, but they didn't do anything about it. Now, I would ask you people, why would you think that would be? Anyway, that's a question for you people to think about. The first victim, who is still a police officer, said Provan thought he was untouchable and that she feared she would be killed. At the trial at Wood Green Crown Court heard that he held a pillow over her face and burnt her with a kettle as part of the campaign of abuse and harassment. The woman complained to the Met about stalking and harassment by Provan in 2005. The court was told she was reluctant to make a full statement at the time, having been labelled by fellow officers as a greavy plonk. She came forward to report the rapes only in 2019. Lucas said to Provan, "I find it highly troubling that the officer's colleagues in the Metropolitan Police in 2004 to 2005 were more concerned about looking out for one of their own than in taking her seriously and investigating her complaints about you. Had they done so, it may be that the second victim would have been spared the ordeal she has gone through." An inspector told Provan he would not be arrested or cautioned and the crime would be shown as cleared up. "I'd rather talk cleared up to mean that the records would show the matter had been closed." Lucas said, "I can barely imagine how desperate that treatment of her must have left the officer feeling." Wild. The Met pledged to carry out a full investigation into missed opportunities to stop Provan. Among them was a report by another female police officer in 2005 that she was receiving new messages from Provan, but the complaint was dealt with informally and had not been taken further. Provan went on to rape the second complainant, Lauren Taylor, when she was 16, having met her through a friend in 2010. Her father, the court said, felt his daughter was safe because she was with a police officer. Number one, stop. Number one, that father is a waste man, because you're meant to protect your daughters. These times you got her with a police officer, and she was young, she was 16 at the time. Who makes their daughter 16 go out with her? It's mad. Anyway, Taylor, who is now 29 and has waived her right to anonymity, had agreed to go to the cinema of Provan after she said he was a police officer and lied about his age, saying he was 22 when he was 31. That's another madness. A lot of you older men be lying to them younger girls about your age because you're just looking for nanny. Stop lying to the younger girl. Instead, Proven took her to some woods where he raped her, even though she repeatedly told him no. Speaking of the ordeal, she said, basically, he raped me. I remember holding onto a tree. I was kind of hugging the tree like emotional support, pretended I was anywhere else in the world but back there. I remember that it can't have been long, but it felt like a long time. The Met Assistant Commissioner, Lewis Ralph, said, we can already see there were key moments where we let women down and did not do all we could to support them. We have told the Independent Office for Police Conduct we are carrying out a review and advise them that we'll make appropriate referrals. There's more than a few officers that need to be fired right here. There's a couple officers that need to be fired because this sounds wow. Sustained nature of Proven's degrading attacks on women as well as Met, allowing such a dangerous man to remain in their ranks, has strong echoes of the case of David Carrick, who was jailed this year for dozens of attacks on 12 victims while he was serving Met officer. Are working to identify if there are maybe further victims and will encourage anyone with information to come forward. We are also reviewing Proven's full history in the Met and before he joined to identify any concerns and whether we could take action against him sooner. Lucas spoke on Proven's cold-blooded and chilling entitlement to sex. And the prosecutor, Anthony Metzer KC, told the court that Proven had an extended history of allegations of sexual misconduct dating back to the 1990s, including stalkerish behavior. The court heard he had watched teenage pornography online and had alleged contacted another 16-year-old girl after she gave her details as a witness. The defendant had over 751 female contacts on his mobile phone, indicating a fascination borderline on obsessive with young women. Lucas said, as well their names and numbers, their ages appeared to be listed, the court heard. What kind of sick man is this? Metzer said, the details of Proven's phone strongly suggested there was sexual activity with women, many of whom were young. So the Met's predicting pedophiles. This is wild. This is actually wild. Ralph said Proven had many women's names on his phone. Detectives are working through the list to understand how they may be linked to Proven and whether there are some offences we're unaware of. During sentencing, Tyler said no prison sentence will take away the harm Adam Proven has caused me. No amount of justice will make me forget the date from hell. Even though I tried my best to block it out, I will never forget how scared I was when the assault took place. And 13 years later, reliving my worst nightmare. She said, the murder of Sarah Everhard by observing police officer Wayne Cousins in 2021 was a massive trigger everywhere. I looked to people who were talking about bad cops, but I already knew this was the case. First victim said, I shared with the police that Proven had been harassing me, burnt me, followed me, burnt his car up for insurance money, and was violent. I listened to them tell me it would follow me for my service. If I wanted anything done, it was exactly as he told me it would be. He had control and I wouldn't be believed or supported. I was now labelled a griefy plonk who would do legs. I had got Adam moved and that was the problem. I felt punished but kept smiling, working hard and saying nothing. I was a victim, but I felt like a suspect. Proven's first trial for 2 rapes ended in hung jury, but he was convicted in 2018 and jailed for 9 years. The next year, he was dismissed from the Metropolitan Police. He served 3 years and 9 months in prison, only to be released on bail after the court appeal quashed his conviction. At a fresh trial, Taylor gave evidence for the 3rd time and 6 more charges of rape relating to Proven's earlier attacks on female officer were added. Mad thing. Did they protect him because he was a police officer? Did they protect him because he's one of them? Or did they protect him because he was white? There's so many questions right here unsolved that we need answers to. But one thing we can be certain of is that the Metropolitan Police was protecting a known rapist and they knew about his weird behavior. And this is to anyone that's in a service with people. You think your brother's moving noncy, he's moving grapey, man, get onto him, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because that poor girl, there could have been protection. And there's probably more victims that we don't even know about. Because after you get away with a few murders, you start thinking you can get away with murder. He's a police officer. And there's 3 people you should never date. And I don't care what anyone says. A teacher, because he's always sleeping with students. A police officer, because they abuse their power. And a doctor, because they're always sleeping with the nurses. And that's my advice for the end of today. What we need to do is, what we can learn from this case is that the police need to do more of their inside work than their outside work. See, why police are stopping and searching poor young black men that are innocent, that actually have businesses and doing great things with their life, they should be worrying about These kind of weirdos like here that are doing women in their own forces and little 16-year-old girls. That's what they need to be worrying about. You got so much corrupted police officers nowadays, man. It's actually, and I don't know if because of social media we're seeing it more. Maybe this was happening back in the day, but it's becoming very apparent that there's some people that when given authority, they will abuse it. Just like Lewis Letby, the baby murderer, that was given 14 life sentences. Some people in their position of authority will commit the most heinous of crimes. And we got to be careful. And our eyes need to be sharp and not look at someone on their skin color, but look at them as their character. If we get a whiff that they're doing something funny, we should stop them to save lives and to protect human beings. And that's the end. Rare Talks were out. Bow.